What's up, guys? Welcome back to Conspiracy Corner. Today we're going to talk about Bernie Sanders and the Democrats.
Who's that?
Well, Bart, he is the latest recipient of the Democrats Fucking Him Over Award, and he's been getting it since 2016. But he's the latest recipient, so he got it again.
So he got it again. Is he happy? Because I don't know about you, but did he like?
Well, we're gonna find out tonight because today is literally Super Tuesday. So those of you who are like, Bernie's not getting fucked, he's literally the nominee. Well, I doubt it's gonna be that easy.
We didn't know that yet.
How's he getting fucked?
Okay, so
let's talk back in 2016 how he got fucked.
Okay, yes, we talked about it before.
The DNC.
We've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again real quick, just very quickly. The DNC worked with Hillary Clinton to install a bunch of people who allocated funds in a way that was sympathetic to Hillary Clinton's campaign and not to Bernie Sanders' campaign, and money's literally everything in politics. And so the DNC fucked over Bernie with that. And
they had emails.
Bernie knew. And they had emails that confirmed everything. And then Donna Brazile, who was the head of the DNC at the time, she came out later and confirmed that all this happened, and they coordinated it with a woman named Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's a congresswoman from Florida, who was also a DNC chairperson. And so it was a big coordinated conspiracy that fucked over Bernie Sanders' campaign. Thank you.
So pretty much they restricted the resources so he can't campaign all the way.
Not only that, they cooperated with the president, not the president, but the top lead of DNC, the Democratic National Committee, to make sure that he doesn't win.
And the true head of the DNC, whenever president's is a Democrat, or whenever the true head of the Republican RNC, whenever the president is a Republican, is the president. So what Joe's saying is right? Like Obama was the head of the DNC while Donna Brazile was the head of the DNC, if that makes sense. Like and
there's supposed to be a fair playing ground within that group, so then they can, go vote in the primaries, and then everyone's supposed to have an equal.
Supposed to, but the way that they set up the superdelegate system is horseshit to a lot of people who feel that the votes of whatever state it is matter the most. Like a superdelegate is allowed to almost do whatever the fuck they want. Right. They don't necessarily have to vote for whoever the party votes for, which is why a lot of people, myself included, think that there's going to be a brokered convention where the Democrats coalesce. And I'm only saying this because of what's happened so far. So far, they're pushing Joe Biden, and then they got Mike Bloomberg out in the wings, right? And so the idea is Bloomberg is spending a fuck ton of money. They had Tom Steyer in there spending a fuck ton of money. They're all pushing establishment positions, while Bernie Sanders is running up the quote-unquote left progressive radical wing, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Everyone calls it radical, I call it progressive. And so Bernie's flanking them to the left even, right? He's attacking everybody from the left. And so a lot of people are saying the DNC does not want Bernie, which is obvious because
he's not establishment.
He's not establishment. Klobuchar just got out. Buttigieg just got out. Why would they all get out at the same time after South Carolina? Well, the big running theory is that they're all doing that to coalesce the numbers behind Joe Biden so that Bernie has a harder way of victory, right? He can't win as easily because the people who are already suspect of Bernie, who are backing Klobuchar or who are backing Buttigieg, are going to just throw their votes in with Biden, giving Biden a bigger power base so that they can head off Bernie.
And why do you think Warren isn't out yet? Like, she seems like she lines with Bernie morals, but then we all know she's probably old.
If she aligns with Bernie's morals, how come she attacks him during the debates and shit? I think that she's running to be somebody's VP, and I think she'll take literally anybody's spot.
So she's a career politician that doesn't give a fuck.
I think so. That's my thought.
Because she was a Republican before, wasn't she? Yeah.
She's a corporate media whore. So she can't wait, I think, for the next big slot, if you will.
So real quick, for people who don't understand what we mean by old guard, establishment candidate, all they see is Democrats and Democrats. They don't really see the difference between like what we see, which is establishment-backed career politicians that's been around for ages. But don't get me wrong, just because someone's been around for ages don't mean that they're also establishment, such as Ron Paul. He was always against the grain. Bernie, he's always been anti-establishment. And what is the establishment? I think the establishment is the
Washington donor class, the group of people who always, no matter who you elect, they have the same positions. And they almost fight in public, but not behind the snes, right? They vote. They all
guys call the old guard too.
Yes, they all vote for the same things, aka wars and war economy things. But then out publicly, they talk shit on those things.
So they're the trifecta of career politicians, military,
industrial
complex, and everyone that benefits from those two, like the oil and big corporate.
Also, the people from both parties who use government to enrich themselves and their families, and they're not actually there for anybody else but themselves. So that we have a super high reincumbency rate, right? If you run for office and win, it's 80% likely that you'll win again. So that's why everyone's like, well, fuck it, we really don't have any power in America when we vote, because it seems like the same end result happens every time, no matter who you vote.
Because everyone's just doing a circle jerk behind the camera.
Yeah.
You make me rich. You pass the policies that I want. I push the military, whatever. They go in a circle, but then on camera, they are putting up this fight that makes people feel like we have hope.
So that's why everyone is giving such a shit right now about taking down Bernie, because Bernie is an anti-establishment guy.
He'll shake it up.
Who the Democrats are. It's almost like they're desperate, right? They had 8 years of Obama. He does the same shit as Republicans. So they're like, well, fuck this shit. Obamacare was written by the insurance companies. They're going, who the fuck can we get behind? And Bernie's their guy. It's the same thing that happened to Republicans with Donald Trump, where they're going, fuck it, we're gonna roll the dice on somebody that we think is nuts, okay? And so that's...
And Donald Trump came and fucked it up for old guard Republicans.
Exactly. And so that's what Bernie's doing. He is the left's answer to Trump, where he is doing the same thing as Trump. He's literally fucking over the DNC by winning against their wishes. And so that's why...
And that's what they don't like, is because they can't control him.
Right.
So that's the difference between establishment candidate and anti-establishment. Establishment candidate can be bought. And a lot of these guys, they're yes men. That's why they love Biden. They love Warren. They love these guys because they play by the old rules. The old rules are campaign for me. I'll put in the rules and the laws and everything. And after I get, I retire, I could, join your board of executives or whatever. Yes. And they secure their position in the future.
I enrich my life.
Right.
And I use my government position to do so.
And some groups, they use during government to enrich their families or to make their own situations better, such as Cheney and Bush. In their situation, being at war was their interest. They were the special interest for themselves. Same with Trump right now. Real estate, keeping the things, keeping the mortgage low, all that stuff, real estate laws. It's his own special interest, but that's a lot better than the war machine, neocon Bush and Cheney team, because they were using American lives.
Just like Bernie's better than the neo-lib Obama war machine. It's the same fucking idea, right? So that's why, and a lot of Republicans watching this, like, Bernie is establishment. He's rich himself. No, you're not thinking about this shit, right? Like, Bernie does not take corporate donations. Like, he does small dollar donations. I think on average his donation is like $25 or some shit. That's all coming from individuals. It's not coming from corporate donors and all this shit. So that's what's good about it, right? Is that you have somebody who's against corporate money, who's willing to do things on behalf of the people and not on behalf of corporate interests.
Yeah, that's definitely the difference between establishment and anti-establishment.
You got Biden literally is Visa's bitch, like Barclays, all those guys, like the credit card companies, and then you have somebody like Bernie who's running in a different lane. That's the point.
What do you guys think is going to win?
I think that
today, like, how do you think?
I think
Between Trump and Bernie, or within the primary?
Within the primary.
If I hadn't seen Donald Trump get elected president, I would have said Biden, but now that I've seen that, I think that Bernie's going to be the Democrat nominee.
Yeah.
I think he will. I think he's going to defy all odds and become the Democrat
I think a lot of
nominee.
people want to see Bernie go up against Trump because he didn't get to in 2016.
Yeah, and that
so
would have been the race.
I'm like, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It's really
Taking account that we're filming this on Super Tuesday, so by the time the video comes out, we'll have an
I get
answer.
to look back and be like, man, I was really
Here's my
wrong.
big dick. Here's my big dick prediction.
Always right.
I think the DNC is going to try to run him off the fucking wall, right? I think that they think that running him is the worst thing ever. You've already heard it from every fucking hack channel, right? MSNBC, CNN, Fox, everybody says the same shit. They all say Bernie can't win. Bernie won't be able to, his coattails won't be able to allow down ticket Congress people to get elected. That's what they said about Trump, and it didn't happen. He won both houses.
I was on Twitter the other day, and apparently, I forgot what state recently had their election, but
South Carolina?
yeah, they were all had 0% reporting rate. But news outlets were pushing that Joe Biden was in the lead, and then you look at the site and it says 00000, but then it says winner Joe Biden.
Biden without there being any.
It says like he's a victor, but still everything says 0%. So no precincts had just closed.
You know why they did that? It's because of exit polling. exit polling allows them to craft a narrative, even while polls. You said polls had just closed.
Yeah, they had just closed.
They had just closed. So what they're trying to do is create the narrative ahead of time that Biden is resurgent.
Exactly.
All the things that happened at the end of South
That's what they did with Hillary.
Yeah.
They said she was in the lead. She was in the lead.
And then she wasn't.
And then she lost.
And then she lost. Well, they also did that to Hillary in if you remember, against Obama.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's the same fucking thing, right? Like Hillary had the DNC's balls, and Obama just beat her with raw numbers, like in a way that we've never seen before.
With social media.
With social media and get out the vote and grassroots efforts.
Right.
So that's why a lot of people are going, oh fuck, the DNC is gonna fuck Bernie, and I think that they're gonna try. But I don't know if the raw numbers are gonna support that. I think that he might actually end up beating them, and if he doesn't, the DNC and the Democrats in general, like as far as the corporate establishment Democrats, are gonna have hell to pay like they've never seen before.
Right, because
will destroy
people
Bart.
were pissed in 2016 because they thought that Bernie should have taken it.
So everybody who thinks they're like, oh, the Democrats are a bunch of socialist communists now. That's not what it is. They are at a wit's end. They had people in charge that they thought would get it done, and they didn't. And I think that both parties right now are very frustrated because everyone wants an end to the wars. They don't end. Everyone wants like somebody in government to give a shit about them, and they don't seem to. So let's just roll the dice on somebody else. And that's what Bernie is, and that's what Trump was for people.
What happened to Andrew and Tulsi?
Oh, Yang did it.
drop out?
The media destroyed Tulsi.
And Yang, remember they were blacking out. Yeah, Yang.
Hey, look at what they just said about Bernie, and they said that Bernie was a Russian. Putin wanted Bernie to win, right?
Oh yeah, they recently did say
They did say that, and I predicted that a month ago. I said, watch for the Russia shit. They're gonna do it. They do it every time. Every time that you want to talk about something real that's happening, like when the DNC got hacked, they blame Russia so that you don't think about what the DNC got hacked and what it exposed, like how the DNC fucked Bernie.
Only the idea that it got hacked by Russians.
That's right.
Your mind is only focused on this and not this.
You're talking about something that Russia came up with, aren't you? And that's the problem, right? Is instead of actually giving somebody, like listening to somebody, you're going, wait, aren't you a Russian tool, Bernie? Isn't Bernie a Russian tool? See?
I recently saw this shit about they try to smear Bernie too because he was, I think, taken out of context again, and he said Hitler had some good things or some shit like that.
It was Castro.
Castro.
Yeah.
He talked about literacy rates or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? I don't think it was the smartest thing to say because you're trying to win Florida.
Right.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
fucking horrible.
You don't say that and then count on the Cubans in Florida to vote for you. The people who escaped all that shit who were like, actually, the literacy programs were about brainwashing people into what Castro believed.
Yeah.
Not about
Getting
making sure they could
education,
read.
yeah.
Right. So, right. But just like Trump, you have an insane messenger. You have somebody who doesn't necessarily say it the right way, but people don't give a fuck anymore.
They rather have they're sick of the lies. Like I'm fucking sick of the. I would have loved to see Tulsi because she's a veteran, or not. She's a veteran. She's actually active military. But the audacity of fucking Hillary's camp was basically going off and saying she's a Russian spy, a Assad sympathizer. You know, it's like, how do you fucking say that kind of shit? So anyone that they go after, I'm very skeptical of their camp. Because so anyone that they go after, I'm like, okay, they're probably the good guys.
If you say somebody's a Russian tool or Russian asset, like they say that about Snowden, they say that about Julian Assange, they say that about Chelsea Manning. If you have given the American public information that they deserve, you are a Russian asset. You are helping Russia. Meanwhile, China gets a end round run all over all of us.
Yep.
With the South China Sea, all this shit, because our corporate donors are the most benefiting from China.
Yep.
So who runs Congress? Corporate donors, both sides. So why would they ever make China an enemy? That's the thing that people need to focus on, not Russia.